Sending out emails for your business give you anxiety or feel overwhelming, and you're questioning how many times should I send an email? Do I send it once a month, once a week, every day? Well, we're going to talk to Cody Birch about why he sends an email every day to his list and it keeps growing, and he's engaging them through the storytelling method, and he has a simple formula that he's going to share with us. All right, take a listen and find out how you can incorporate story into your email campaigns. Hi, it's Rev Risty with Revolutionize Your Business, Your Marketing, and Your Life. And I'm here with Cody Birch, who we're going to talk a little bit about storytelling, email, marketing strategy. And Cody, I'm going to turn it over to you first to tell my audience a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Reb, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to share this today. And this is my second round of entrepreneurship. I started my first business in 2017 doing digital marketing, funnels, Facebook ads, email marketing, and I hosted live events pre-COVID. And at my live events, I would sell coaching. One of my favorite coaching clients, they did everything I said, and we had a really great relationship, and they grew their business. And then about a year ago in 2022, that coaching client hired me for some in-person consulting. And while we were out there doing consulting, it was going so well. And we just started to dream, what would it be like if we worked together? Long story short, they made me a great job offer. So I shut down my entrepreneur business, offloaded agency clients, shut down my membership site, pretty much burned everything I had to the ground to go work with them for 6 months. Why 6 months, you might be wondering? Well,
Yeah.
right before Christmas, they came to the decision that it wasn't a good fit and I wasn't working out. And I was abruptly let go, which was a big shock to me at the time.
Wow.
So then I was met with my wife and 3 kids, and 7 months ago, had to decide if we were going to rebuild entrepreneur stuff or if we were going to try to keep the 9 to 5 hustle going. And we decided to build back the entrepreneur side. Now, in the very beginning of this year, my first thought was, I'm going to come back and I'm going to be bigger and better than ever. I'm just going to be a better digital marketer. Think of a great marketer and I'll just be better. I'll be a better ad person, a better copywriter. And that was a fool's errand because it's impossible to measure, and it just leads us to not being satisfied with what we're doing and how we're helping people. And so I wanted to be a little bit different. And what I saw happening beginning of this year was a lot of AI, a lot of automation, a lot of chat GPT, a lot of all the stuff coming up. And I thought, well, the one thing I did last year, even when I had that job for 6 months, is I sent a daily email to my email list. I tell a short story, short lesson, an application, a call to action. And I followed this formula. And I thought, I'm just going to teach people how to do that, how to connect with their audience via email. One thing led to another, because people that were writing emails were saying, how do you come up with stories? What do you even say in your emails? And I tell stories in my emails. So that led to me creating a framework that I use to tell stories in my emails, in my marketing, here on podcasts, on platforms, in my ads, on my landing pages, inside my lead magnets. There's different stories that we can tell along the way. So I'm happy to say the second round of entrepreneurship is going well, smoother than the first time. I know what I'm doing. I'm a little more seasoned, a little more clear on what I want to do and how I want to help people. And it's been a really fun journey.
Oh, I love that. And, I think that's the beauty of being an entrepreneur. You take chances, but also there's risk, right? Things don't go out the way you plan. And so it's great that you were able to bounce back. I think a lot of people would have gave up.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to hear, you've got a very interesting background. Like you said, you've created courses, you're doing coaching. Now you're specializing in email. I can't wait to hear about your formula. What I would like to know, and clients ask me this all the time, why would you send an email every day? A lot of people don't even want to send one once a month.
Right.
You've got to tell me, how does once a day work?
Yeah, I started doing it. I've done it every day since January 2022. So I'm a year and a half with no signs of stopping. I just love doing it. And what I found, obviously, we are the only people that read every single one of our emails. Even my mom doesn't read all my emails that I send from my business email address. So we're the only people that see it all the time. So I know a lot of people are afraid if I send more email more frequently, I'm going to drive people away. I'm going to make them unsubscribe. My list is going to shrink. And I found that that's not the case. So I tried it first. I did it in the month of October 2021. I did it an email a day for 31 days. I was emailing whenever I had something to promote. So that's a bad habit, right? Every time you
Yeah.
saw my name in your inbox, it was because I had a webinar or an event or a workshop or something I was trying to sell. And what I saw in that 31 days is my open rates increased, my click-through rates increased, and my purchase rates increased. More people were buying. You get that initial little bit of unsubscribes that weren't ready to hear from you that frequently. And then when I went daily a year and a half ago, now in my onboarding sequence, when people join my list, one of the first emails I send is, you're part of the community. You've just joined a bunch of other people. I'm really glad you're here. And here's how I can support you in growing your business. Number one, I send a daily email with a short story, a lesson, application that you can apply to your life to grow your business. You can unsubscribe whenever you want, but who wouldn't want a daily dose of digital marketing inspiration in their inbox? Or it says something like that. So I tee them up
Right.
like, welcome to my world. Here's what's going to happen. I'm going to email you every day. You don't like that? You can unsubscribe. So now, a year and a half in, I can't remember when I didn't send a daily email. So it gives us more attempts. And I mean that kind of in a sports analogy. It gives us more at bats, or it gives us more shots from the free throw line, because I communicate with my audience every single day, again, by telling a short story, a lesson I learned, an application to that, to their lives, and how they can, apply that lesson to what they're doing in their business. And now my open rates are fine. Like, they're probably average or above average, but I get so many. Probably today, I've probably heard from 3 people that reply back and say, "Oh, great story. This was so great," or "I needed to hear this today," or "This is really awesome." And I started to screenshot those over the years and go, "Man, I'm getting a lot of replies." I don't know about you, Reb, the last time you got an email reply from your list and they were like, "Thank you for this email. I loved it. I forwarded it. I shared it with my friend. Can I share this email on social media?" I'm like, "Yeah, that'd be great." So I just get in the habit of doing it. Again, I can't remember a time I didn't do it.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I definitely understand the idea of, you're right, not everyone's reading every email. I kind of equated someone once called it like a billboard, right? And they just see your name, whether they're reading it or not, they just see your name. It's popping up, keeping you alive in their brain. But for those of us, the thought of having to write an email every day not only sounds like too much, but it seems overwhelming. Like, how do
Yeah.
you write an email every day?
Well, the first thing I do is I collect the dots. So as we're going about this is a habit of mine now. So going about our daily business, I think of just something will happen. The most interesting thing that happens in my day, I'll just jot it down. It seems small and insignificant. Sometimes it's cool. Like, my wife and I will travel, or we'll purposefully inject ourselves into doing something new. Like tomorrow night, my wife doesn't know this yet, but I signed us up for our first ever dance lessons. I don't want to go do it, but that'll be
What?
cool content for my email list. So I'm always thinking of
Wow.
what can I do that's different, fun. And I don't live some crazy life. I live in a cul-de-sac. I drive a pickup truck. We have 3 kids. We have a dog. I have this normal life. I'm not like a world traveler, private jet, person, influencer type guy. But it's collecting those dots and then connecting those dots for our readers. And here's an example from yesterday. Last night, I was walking my dog. We got to a fork in the road. He took off to the right. He was on a leash, but I had to go to the left to go to the neighborhood mailbox. And it reminded me of, sometimes if you don't know where you're going, you're kind of tugging on the leash, but you're not even sure why you want to go there. You don't know where you're going. You need someone to lead you every now and then. So that's not a crazy story. It's a simple story. It's a true story. It happened last night. And in that moment, I pulled out my phone and just jotted that note down about how, when we're running a business, we need to exhibit a little bit of leadership, that sometimes our clients or customers want to go a certain way and they don't know which way they're going. So we can lead them where we want to lead them through our influence, our stories, or offers, things like that. I do that all the time. It drives my wife crazy. I'm always, collecting the dots of something will happen. And last week we had a little hailstorm here in Colorado, and it dinged really bad my son's car while he was at work. So I'm thinking, well, that's interesting. Like, is there a story there? Maybe, maybe not. But I just jotted that down. And with hail, it wasn't like a meteor hit his car. It was a bunch of little things. So maybe there's something there that I could wrap that story in. How a lot of little things piled up can make an impact. Now, in that case, a negative impact. It really damaged his car. I'm just always on the lookout for things that happen in my life. And if you think that sounds really mundane and boring, I get it. Like, they're not the craziest stories ever of this wild life I'm living, but I hear it every day. Like I said today, 3 people replied back to that kind of dog story of like not knowing where we're going. They're like, "Oh, this is great. I needed to hear this." I'm like, "Really? That's the thing?" So I've just done it enough. I've gotten the reps in enough. I've told so many stories through email. They're very short, a short observation, and then how it applies to their life. If people, I want to say this too, if people don't want to go daily, what I think a lot of people do is they either ignore their list, that's not good, or they email them monthly, that's not good, or they do what I used to do, which I emailed them when I had a promo, that's not good. It trains your audience. Oh, here comes Cody again. He's just going to sell me something. And or they email once a week and say it's all about themselves. It's a Cody Birch highlight reel. Hey, this week I did this. Me. Look at this. Look at this. I launched this. I did this. I sold this. Here's the sales page for this. And that's not good either. So if you want to do a weekly email, I think that's fine. I just like the framework that I've come up with around those stories, the lesson, the application, the call to action. It's an easy thing to remember because what I just said spells the word Slack without the K, SLAC, story, lesson, application, and the C is call to action. The call to action could be reply or go do something or click on this link or go check out Reb's podcast or like it's just do something that relates to the lesson I just shared with you in the email.
Got it. So that's story, lesson, action, call to action,
The A stands for application. So
application. Great.
yeah, so
Story,
something
lesson,
happened. Here's the
application.
lesson I learned. Here's how you can apply that to your life, and then the call to action. I remember I did one. Speaking of dance lessons, I went to a mastermind, and we, as part of the excursion, we did line dancing. I was like, it was a different story, but a good story for emails. So I told that story. But the call to action that day was like, do more interesting, fun stuff. So literally, go to Groupon or Living Social, click on the tab that says things to do, and go do something like sign up for archery lessons or charcoal art or pottery or sculpting or like it doesn't have to be a call to action like click a link and give me money. That's that leadership and influence part that I wield through my emails. Like I want people to do things when I tell them to do things. And it's not always a call to action like give me money. It's a call to action like go high five a stranger or go whatever, ask for 10% off on your Starbucks order that day, knowing they're going to say no, but it's important to, get rejected or whatever I come up with. I just have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, no, I love that. I really like that. And I suppose that's why people enjoy getting your emails because we don't want to be sold to all the time. We do want to feel like there's an actual human on the other end that has a normal life like the rest of us. I'm with you. I live in a townhouse and drive a normal car, and my life is pretty average on most days. So
Here's what's cool about it. I'm able to start to convince people to start to do this. So, Reb, I hope you email your list more often with that simple framework. I'm seeing it now because when people are in my mastermind, they come to my events, I'll join their list and just kind of see what they're up to, even if I'm not their target market. And I'm seeing it. And I have a mastermind, there's 9 people in it. I didn't tell them to do this, but 2 or 3, I think, started emailing their list every day. I was like, oh no, like I wonder what's going to happen. Like I know I say it, but I know these people intimately. They're in my group and they're loving it. The same thing, a little bit of unsubscribes in the very beginning because you're shifting the expectation, you're shifting the relationship. But then they're like, I love it. I don't know, I can't believe I never did this before. And they're just telling short stories and the application, it's just awesome. It's just more attempts instead of just coming around once a year with, here's a thing that's on sale. It's Black Friday, so give me money. It's a
yeah,
way, way, way better way to do email. And yeah, in 2023 and yeah, in 2024. And yeah, that's why all of my marketing and everything I teach, I don't care what my point of view is. I don't care what audience you're ever trying to build, as long as it is in service of you growing your email list. So go get big on YouTube or TikTok or wherever you want to get big in service of getting people on your email list with a helpful resource, a lead magnet, a checklist, a cheat sheet, something like that, because that is the only list that you own. And I believe that so much because in January of this year, I just gotten let go. I had no clients, I had no job. I was trying to apply for unemployment at 42 years old for the first time. It was just such a strange year for me, but I was still sending those daily emails. And this is why I'm so
oh
passionate about it.
really?
My email list and that relationship I built was what allowed me to come back so quickly. And the old proverb is the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago, but the second best time is today. Same thing with your email list. The best time to build and engage your email list is 5 years ago, 10 years ago. But the second best time is now. And we don't need to hold ourselves in judgment or shame for not doing a good job of that. We can change that now.
Yeah. No, I really, really appreciate that. So I'm going to join your email list. And we send a weekly, mostly we're promoting our guests on the podcast. And I do get good feedback because I think to your point, although I'm not necessarily telling a story about me, it is a story about the guests and what you're doing. And I think people are engaged by that. And I think they're going to learn a lot too about what you're talking about and how to simplify. To me, that's a simple formula, where I think a lot of people overcomplicate their emails. So then it does become overwhelming and they don't want to send it and their, audience doesn't necessarily resonate with it. So I love this idea of storytelling and your Slack formula. So I really appreciate that. Well, as we're wrapping up here, any last thoughts or anything you want to say to my audience before we get to your offer?
Yeah, just the idea. I want people to understand the power of telling stories. That's why I love podcasts. I love videos, and I try to answer everything in a story. I now, years later, I have a story for everything. So when I'm doing like a sales call or making an enrollment invitation at my live events, and people have objections, I have a story for each objection. Or as I work with people and provide that transformation, let's say it's over 5 steps, I have a story I can wrap around each step of that transformation trail where people are getting a result from working with me. So I would encourage everybody to start to document those stories in their life. And if you just start with your own self, everybody has a rock bottom story or an origin story. In my training in the Story Magnet workshop, I call it the Road to Damascus story, which is a story out of the Bible, but this bad guy walking down the road and he was struck blind by lightning and he realized he had to live his life a different way. There's a really short recap of this story from the New Testament, the Bible. So that's your Road to Damascus story. Success path story, or I call them skill stack stories. Like over the years, Reb, you've gotten good at certain things. So what have you gotten good at? Video, podcasting. What's a story about how you got good at video? What's a story about how you got good at podcasting? What's a story about how you got good at storytelling? Facts tell, stories sell. Your audience, everybody listening, is so much more likely to build that connection with you when you can wrap a story around what you do. I could have gotten here today and said, digital marketing, increase click-through rate, increase opt-in conversion percentage, and increase deep funnel retargeting, Facebook ad, meta ad, blah, blah, blah.
Oh my God.
Boring. Like that's not
Even
helpful.
I'm like, oh.
It's not helpful. It's not engaging. It doesn't, you would leave like, I didn't like that guy very much. He just talked about metrics and Facebook ads manager. What a nerd. I didn't like that guy. But the stories are what allow us to connect with our audience. So collect the dots and then connect the dots for your readers, and don't be afraid to open up and be vulnerable and tell stories.
Awesome. I love it. Thank you so much, Cody. Really quick, you do have an offer for our audience so that they can engage with you and learn a little bit more about storytelling and how to put that into their marketing. What is it?
Yeah, so I made a thing. Everybody knows about lead magnets. It's kind of a common marketing term. It's what attracts our audience to us and can repel people. Remember, magnets attract and repel. But not a lot of people know about story magnets. And story magnets are this similar thing. They're stories that we tell that attract our target audience to us while also repelling people that would never want to work with us, and we wouldn't want to work with them in the first place. So I made a workshop. It's a paid workshop, but it's not expensive. And it's called the Story Magnet Workshop. And the URL is storymagnetworkshop.com. We got a coupon code we'll put in the show notes for people to save a little bit of money just for your audience. It's a REBL exclusive coupon code. But that's where you can go to learn how to tell better stories, build a more loyal following, amplify every single piece of your marketing with 7 powerful storytelling structures I created.
Awesome. I love it. Thank you so much, Cody. That was really valuable. And like you said, we'll put it in the show notes. We'll also put a link to your website. So if people want to get a hold of you and learn more about what you're doing and how they can do it too, they will be able to do that. And then for my audience, revolutionize your marketing, your business, your life. And as Cody said, I've had a journey of perfecting how to be on camera. And now we're getting into podcasting. And we love helping our clients figure out their messaging and then bringing it to life through content, whether it's video, podcasting, however you want to bring it to life. But I think everyone has a story to tell, and I hope that we can encourage more people to do that. All right. Thanks, Cody, so much.
Thanks, Reb.